Hello, welcome to the To Be Human podcast, episode 12 on mental health. Time to talk about a very important topic, mental health. You know, our mental function in our brain, you know, the challenges of, mental health and yeah. So, to start with, you know, uh, let's just, cover, the basics of mental health, even though people, probably know it. It's, function of the brain, how well are we doing, mentally, like how we mentally feel, are we feeling good, are we feeling bad, blah, 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 whatever. Um, but more specifically, what I'm going to be talking about, the bad, stuff, depression, anxiety, um, you know, all that fun stuff. So yeah, you know, you know how the, I guess deal and cope with it. You know, my personal, advice. It might not work for everyone, but something's better than nothing, so yeah. Hopefully any advice is better than no advice at all, you know. And yeah, again, it's personal, so what's worked for me will not be the same for everyone else. So let's start a bit lighter with anxiety and then go darker to depression. So anxiety is where sometimes you struggle with, different things, anxiety over different things like either doing a task or social anxiety. So, you know, most people usually get the social anxiety, but there's, the other type of anxiety where it's more, work related or task related anxiety, but it's not really the main one that, I've dealt with or, know about. So I'm mainly going to be focusing on social rather than just the regular type. So, social is fun to deal with, social anxiety. Uh, and by fun, I mean, it's, I'm being, facetious and sarcastic because it's not fun. Like, like struggling to talk to people, especially usually it's harder to do in real life than a game. Obviously, there are times where even in a game it can be hard. Like, I often struggle with breaking the ice, So, so yeah, it proves to be a problem. Definitely a problem. choosing games that benefit cooperation, you know, often, you know, result in, um, bad, chances that you'll end up being friends with whoever, you're playing the game with. That's why Left 4 Dead is, a classic example of, you know, getting, easy, friends because it forces you to cooperate. Otherwise, the group suffers as a whole. And if you're going to be an annoying person that strays too far from the group, like, then, people aren't going to exactly like you as much. So, Left 4 Dead is a classic example of, breaking that barrier. But, for me personally, I would mention it. I mean, it's literally, right on screen. It's always there. VR chat. It's always there. Um, Even though in this podcast it's a bit smaller than usual, it's still there. Is a VR chat. Um, you know, classic game. And basically the reason I have like all my friends currently, basically, all the, current friends, a few were made like in then other games like Lethal Company and others, but the friends I still primarily, you know, talk to or hang with or whatever, all stem from VR chat. So basically, 100% of, my current friends is from just VR chat. So yeah, it's definitely a game that helped me beat my social anxiety because, a lot of the games in VR chat do provide like some sense of cooperation, it, especially Among Us, because yeah, again, I started in VR chat in December of 2020. You know what happened in 2020? Other than COVID, Among Us happened. Well, didn't come out per se, but still became popular mainly thanks to Henry Stickmin. Yeah, again, I'm always gonna be the one to be like, hey, you owe this to Henry Stickmin. Don't forget about him. I know the Henry Stickmin collection was basically the end of Henry Stickmin, but still, give Henry some credit. I've known about Henry longer than I, knew about Among Us. I knew about Puffballs United, back in like 2015 or something, whenever it was. I know I was younger, back in the days of, Flash, now that's gone. Oh boy. But yeah, maybe I should do one on Flash, but I haven't played too many Flash games. Like, I wasn't someone that was on like Newgrounds and everything. I've only played like a select few of like the Flash games. Like, I played classics like Run, Fireboy and Work, all the Papa's Pizzeria, all those things. Because there's like a bunch of them. Henry Stickmin, of course. Portal Flash Edition, which, yeah, and the creators of that now I know eventually created a actual map pack and source that would be officially in the still live version of the game. Plus, they would, go on to, make Nightmare House slash, more prominently Nightmare House 2, which is basically the definitive version of Nightmare House. Like, it's weird to call it Nightmare House 2 when technically the first Nightmare House is in Nightmare House 2 just as a revamped prologue. So yeah, but anyway, and then eventually the people that made that made In Sound Mind. So yeah. So I got back to them, you know, the long way round. Played a product of theirs in my childhood, and then got back the long way round when I finally played a Nightmare House 2, and then In Sound Mind, because I knew that was a reference of to Nightmare House to in Sound Mind. So yeah, but yeah, I've gone on a huge tangent. Now I forget where I started from. Uh, but yeah, oh yeah, Flash. But yeah, Flash is unfortunately gone. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, because I was talking about Henry Stickmin because of Among Us, but yeah, Henry Stickmin is cool, and I knew about you know all way below before the times of Among Us, and now everything's sus. Venter all sus past 2020. Before, when going in vents, you would, you know, probably think of Die Hard or Half Life, like, like those games had a lot of vent stuff. But now it's always sus Among Us. How times change. But yeah. Either way, yeah. Anyway, back to Among Us the VR chat version. Um, and so Among Us, despite you don't know who you can trust, you still have to somewhat work with crewmates to ensure that the imposters caught out and um, that you succeed as a crew. Obviously, when you're the imposter, you have to destroy the crew. But yeah, that's definitely Among Us is oddly a good game for social cooperation, which, I guess, helped me when playing the VR chat version to help break the ice and, you know, get some of my earliest VR chat friends like Kim, like Karen Echo, the one that's, yeah, again, basically, had, the most impact on my life out of any of, my friends in VR chat, because without Kim, I would have gone to RP like I did, wouldn't be doing Michael or Jimmy, wouldn't, like, so many things stem from Kim. So, you know, like, so yeah, definitely, thank Kim for, I guess, setting me on this path. Otherwise, who knows what I would have been doing. Like, if I didn't form, like, those early bonds in VR chat and, like, Kim and Tricky stuff. Yeah, and it's, painful, but it was my first. But also, one of the first I, you know, lost out of anyone more so than anyone else. Like, basically, for 99% of the rest, it was just, you know, like, um, the bonds faded by time. 1% was trauma, which happened twice. If I had a nickel for every time I joined a group, the group seemed fine for about like 6 months or so. And then broke well, was it 6 months? It was longer than 6 months. It might have been a year with Mussolino. How long was it? I think, actually, maybe in a year, but still, if I had a nickel for every time I joined a group, or, a group was formed, um, then the group split apart by like one small drama that would ultimately split the group apart and absolutely destroy it, I would have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's odd that it's happened twice. But yeah, drama ain't great, so yeah. But yeah, basically, Tricky stays the 0 point, like 1% or something. Trying to do the math, maybe 0.3%. Yes, I think that would be correct. But yeah, 0.3% of cases where it was um, what's the most YouTube friendly way to put this? Potentially um, um, you know, ending um, existence for themselves. Uh, you know, uh, yeah, that's basically the best way I can put it. So yeah, so yeah. Otherwise, 0.7%, which I guess, would make sense because two cases, so 0.3 for, 333 repeating indefinitely, whatever, um, um, for each individual part, but together, basically, 0. Might as well, round it up to 0.7, round down for trickster to 0.3 to equally add them together, be the 1% of other things that happen for my friendships. But yeah, yeah. So yeah, 1% of the time it's really painful, but humans love to focus on the negative. Maybe that's why we have, such, poor mental health these days, especially with, you know, internet and like all that just piling on because, you know, you know, thousands of voices, potentially, saying you suck and really drain your mentality fast. But yeah, anyway, I've got to finish talking about social anxiety before I delve deep into depression. Although this would be a good point to segue, but I need to finish with what I've already started. But yeah, social anxiety, sucks. Usually it's easier online, but still can be problematic. And from my best advice and experiences, you know, online seems to be a good way to get past it. You know, as for real life, I haven't still figured that out. The trick to that conundrum. The best you can hope in real life is that you find someone that also, relates to you and you can have a conversation with. But, yeah. Um, online's probably the best, and yeah, thanks to VR chats, I have my friends, so yeah. And, I'll always be grateful to them because I wouldn't be here if it weren't for some of them, like, like, it wouldn't be for technically Trickster that I would have, done the devouring because if because I wanted to play the devouring with friends, so the fact you know even though I didn't really get to play with Tricky Stuff, it still led to me doing it with Kim, and yeah, like just the proof in the pudding that it would be fun to completely do it would lead to, doing it with Kim and Riku, and um, just trying to remember. Skylar Ramen was the one that did Boop Boop originally. Not like Sky Slayer, a different Sky. So yeah, we're being, you know, weird slash interesting if they were still around, and if everything else played out mostly the same. The main difference would be there would have been Quill, which means there would have been Moonshine. In the Noir episode. So yeah. Hmm. Well, that would be interesting. So the pseudo what I call knockoff Rogers Moonshine would have not existed, because when that happened, like it's in the thoughts in my mind while doing that episode was like, Quill is exactly like Riku. Quill is exactly like Rogers. If Quill continues to do this, I don't know if how I'll feel. Luckily, they aren't too much into RP stuff, so I kind of got a lucky break there that didn't more, mentally affect me, because despite, I definitely enjoyed Moonshine. I don't know if long term, you know, how I would feel about it if Moonshine stayed as a constant character. Like, I don't know how I would feel as it would have probably torn me apart back then. Now, if it were to happen, maybe I'd be more accepting of it. Like, like, because yeah, again, it because Moonshine is so similar to Rogers, it kind of like, in a way, triggers the sadness part of my brain. It's nothing against Quill. Quill's a cool guy. Um, you know, it's just, it's like a perfect mirror. Like, Like, Moonshine is definitely the perfect equal opposite of Roger. It's like, so, you know, therefore, like, if they were to continue being a character, I don't know how I would handle it. But nowadays, I've more mentally, past, the grief. I've kind of accepted, that Rogers won't return in any way. Even though I really want to, like, please. Maybe I'm still kind of stuck on bargaining stage, but I'm definitely past denial, and then it goes anger, right? Um, Stages of grief. Yeah, anger. So yeah. So yeah. For a long time, I was stuck in sort of, you know, denial and depression. Yeah, and could be a good point to start off, talking about depression. But yeah, I'm not really a person that gets angry easily, so anger was probably the briefest stage. So yeah, but at this point, I'm basically in the in acceptance with a small hint of bargaining every now and then, like, please, please give him back to me. I want Rogers back. Like, but yeah. So yeah. But yeah. Um, either way, yeah. But yeah. But if Moonshine was to return now, I think I'd be more accepting, and yeah. But yeah. But I'm going on a tangent again. But yeah. Yeah. But I'm glad, you know, Quill is around, you know, rather than, uh, I guess I'll refer to him as Ramen just to not get, you know, um, confused between, Sky Slayer, um, and, Skylar Ramen. So I'll just call him Ramen from now on. But yeah, the original Boop Boop, yeah, like, despite, Boop Boop's a great character, and I absolutely love Boop Boop, even though they were like one of the most short lived characters, only appearing in two adventures, technically, only one recorded, because one was the Devouring Mansion, which was the original way before, recording or streaming anything. And then the second one was Fever Dream, which was my first stream basically ever. Technically, yeah, again, I did two test streams, blah blah blah, beforehand, but I don't really count them as my proper first stream. But technically, my first one was a test stream. Or Deep Orange Puppet Lore. That's long buried because Twitch doesn't keep streams. This is why I stream on both. Even if it continues to give me YouTube warnings. God damn you, YouTube. I'm in a YouTube warning again. If you haven't already heard, I'm in a YouTube warning again because of VR chat. I knew I shouldn't have streamed it, but it's so fun. But the community sucks sometimes. Not everyone. There's a lot of cool people, and some of those cool people unnecessarily get, hate. I'm mainly referring to furries. It's quite evident. Because why do people hate them so much? I can kind of get it's kind of, weird if you see like a real life one, wearing a fursuit and everything, it might be a bit strange and odd and peculiar, whatever. But why hate them? Like, why? It's you know, you know, you know, like, not to really out myself here, but, like, there are certain, characters, animal sort of characters that are hot. Lola Bunny. I'm just saying. So yeah, I will defend the furries. Unless you're one of the bad ones, then like the bad ones of any community, like it doesn't matter, like whatever community, like if you're one of the problem makers, troublemakers, the problematic ones, you guys need to learn your lessons. Like I'm sorry, like if you're going to cause harm to us, you need to learn your lessons and become better people. So yeah. But otherwise, defend furries. Defend the furries. There's a new movement. Defend the furries. But don't let it get out of hand. Some movements go out of hand way too quickly. Maybe I shouldn't said that. Maybe I've inadvertently created something bad. Don't blame me if it goes out of control. I might have been the one that sparked the fire, but I wasn't the one to make certain that spark turned to a flame. So yeah, don't blame me. But yeah, yeah. But yeah. So I rather quill over ramen despite Boop Boop was a classic. But safe to say, I think I've definitely kept up the same Boop Boop energy. Boop Boop is still pure and great. Boop Boop knows everything. Boop Boop knows what's inside your soul. Boop Boop will destroy you. I love Boop Boop. I think definitely I nailed boop boop energy. Rogers, yeah, again, Rogers is so unique you can't mimic. Like, Rogers is um, like, he is truthfully an anomaly. Like, I had no idea how Riku was always so funny and like the perfect kind of random, but Riku was the perfect Rogers, and my Rogers will never be the same. Like, that, there's definitely elements that are the same, but my Rogers is like a completely different, character to the original. Like that, there's still, the foundations of the original that exist inside of his DNA is still very much a person that loves Hot Pockets and other food, but still his ultimate favorite food is strawberry Pop Tart with maple syrup. Um, Even though the one he consistently mentions is Hot Pockets. So it's an easy assumption to think that would be his favorite, but it wasn't, which, is definitely something that, threw us all off, you know, when doing the podcast episode. But yeah, again, we improvise, so, yeah. But yeah, Rogers was perfect. And if, I see Moonshine again, I feel like Quell as Moonshine definitely will have that same level of Rogers energy, but a different kind of Rogers. Like the like Rogers is like one half of the coin and Moonshine is the other. Like like Rogers is I guess like with the character Sun and Moon like Rogers is the sun, like he burns with the you know you know radioactive energy, which is fitting because he almost blew up a city with a nuclear reactor because he wanted to heat his hot pockets up or something. So yeah, Rogers is definitely the sun, and Moonshine is, well, the moon. Like, you know he doesn't burn with the same energy, is more, I guess, a calm, well, calm relatively, like a more sandstone, like, since, the moon is basically rock, kinda, well, it is rock, I suppose, just the different kind of rock from Earth, like, probably different, like, elemental makeup, because they ain't, volcanoes and all that. But still, yeah, moonshine is the moon. I mean, it's kind of in his name. So, yeah, they're more accurate to the actual moon and sun and not moon and sun, the character, because from Security Beach, because that's not exactly accurate, because sun's kind and all that, where moon's like kind of chaotic evil. So yeah, maybe it wasn't the best example now I think about it. But yeah, you still get the idea and all that. So yeah, but yeah. Anyway, I'm getting way off topic and off tangent again. Social anxiety. So yeah, I definitely, had my fair share of battles with social anxiety, and yeah, but the best you can do is, um, you know, just try and say hi or something, or, you know, try and do small things to try and break it because it isn't easy. Like, even I haven't succeeded at even, sometimes saying hi, but sometimes you just gotta start with a hi and hope that it doesn't end with a bye. As in, bye, I'm leaving, bye. Not, the other bye, bisexual, that's a different kind of bye. Because, I'm just saying that because, I was trying to say bar and someone thought I was saying bye, so, you know, after that last time, just gotta clarify, just in case. So yeah, you know, nothing against, bisexual. It's just me terribly speaking. It's my fault. Sorry to all you bisexuals out there. I'm a failure. I don't know what I did exactly, but I am a failure. like, 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 I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So social anxiety is hard, and yeah. At least for streaming, since I'm staring at a computer screen and my microphone can't exactly be you know have anxiety. So yeah. So yeah. Anyway, let's finally you know get past social anxiety because man, it kind of sucks. But yeah, and anything other loose ends with friend stuff. But before I move on, I guess I'll say all my friends are cool, and yeah, you know even you know if they're no longer my friends, a lot of them are cool, chill people, and yeah, yeah, there's definitely a lot of cool people in Fiacha, and yeah, yeah, stop hating on the furries, and yeah, that should cover all my bases. Hopefully, I didn't forget anything, and if I did forget anything, sorry. Um, but yeah. Anyway, time to move on to depression. How long was just social anxiety? Oh god, it's almost been 50 minutes. Yikes. Yikes. weeks. Anyway, um, social anxiety, not anxiety, depression, goddamn, I, my brain sometimes. Can you say the right words and not say what I've already just talked about? Anyway, depression, the fun one, not really. So literally feeling that feeling of being down in the dumps. I've definitely had that feeling before. Like, it definitely was getting, I guess, bad at one point in particular without me even like fully as realizing it. And oddly enough, it would take a game that has some, I'm going to say, interesting voice lines and dialogue. Uh, Class of '09, if you've heard of that. I haven't played it myself, and probably will not play it because it seemed like a game that would probably definitely get me like a YouTube warning, probably. Although, is South Park fine by YouTube's terms? I don't know. I need to do investigating because it's kind of similar to South Park, but it has its own direction. Well, let's just say, but yeah, oddly enough, due to that game and the main character in that, which I've already forgotten their name, um, like it would make me kind of realize, like, oh my god, my mind is a dumpster fire of negativity and sadness. Like, my mind, you know, is like really not doing mentally good. Like, I'm still, generally and just generally down, but not as much since that point. Like, oddly enough, it helped me out, you know, having that self like realization moment helped me a lot, you know, mentally. I was like, oh god, I am really negative in my mind. Like, I don't like, swear in real life, but in my brain, I will admit that in my mind, I, you know, did swear, which is, the oddest thing. Like, it was literally a parallel opposites. Like, in real life, never would utter a swear word. In my mind, though, in my brain, it be constant, like a constant thing when I wasn't distracted by a game and focusing on the negative. Like, it it was a really bad place to, I guess, be mentally. Like, to be constantly down, constantly depressed and angry all the time about a lot of stuff. And yeah, once I had that sort of like self realization of like how bad it had actually gone, like, compared to where I probably was in the past mentally. Like, it was like, oh damn, I am not doing good. I, you know, really need to chill out. And so, you know, eventually my mind, you know, started to like fully like cut back, and now I'm back to a more mentally sound state. Still mentally could be bad, like uh 3 out of 10 feels like it's a low number. So maybe 4 out of 10, like like not at the midway point for CERN, still relatively negative. Maybe 3.5. Is that too low? Hmm. Like 40, 4 out of 10 is 40%, so is 40% accurate? Like, because I generally don't feel great, but could, be worse. Maybe 3.5 would be accurate. I feel like 3 is too low because it's like 30%. So yeah, maybe 3.5 out of 10. 35%. Yeah, because 40 may be too high, maybe being too optimistic, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's more like 37%, like a 3.7, which I usually wouldn't do individual things, but it might be accurate. Like, I don't think it's as high as 40, but maybe not quite as low as 35. I'll say 37, not quite 38. There's room for improvement. But yeah, 37% I think mentally good is my current state of mental health. So yeah, so not bad, not great, just okay. Like, relatively okay. So yeah. So yeah. But yeah, depression sucks like hell. Especially when you enter not just, you know, sad depression, but anger depression is really quite self destructive. It's the same point, that Simon from Cry of Fear is, at with losing his legs. Like, he's in, you know, angry depression rather than just full on sad apathy depression. Like, it's a lot more self destructive than, you know, apathy depression, which is, I guess, where I am now. Just generally feeling apathetic and, you know, like feeling like, where am I going to go? Like, I've been rejected from all jobs I've applied to so far. I have, like, not much work experience, mainly due to my own fault, but, you know, hopefully it ain't too little too late because I'm only starting, doing work experience sort of things now where I probably should have started like 2 or 3 years ago, like back near the start of my, uni stuff rather than near the end of my potential first course. Um, Potentially could do other things. I'm still uncertain on that, but that's a whole different issue. Um, like what happens next in life. But yeah, yeah, yeah. But at the moment, it's like hopefully it's not too little, too late, and like yeah, who knows? But yeah, now I'm just definitely I'm more apathetic. So like so depression, not at the same level, just a general like sort of like depressed mood about the state of the world and all that. And, generally feeling like things are going to go bad. But at least I'm no longer, in the self, you know, destructive state, which if it kept going on, like, you know, who knows where I would be, probably maybe even reaching the same levels as, again, using the example of Simon, where in some of the endings, you know, he, also, like my friend, Trickster, potentially commits unalive. So, yeah, yeah, it's not great. You know, I mean, I've also thought about what would have happened, without my friends, you know, for like my mental health. Like if I never got into VR chat and form those connections, like since of my social anxiety, I would have had no real life friends, nor online friends, meaning I would have had no friends. And that would have, probably been worse for my mental health. So the other timeline of me that didn't have, VR chat probably would have been even more likely to do the commit unalive. Like, which is, a sad truth, but that's reality sometimes. Luckily, in this timeline I had friends, so at least it never really, you know, entered, my mind, you know, and having a friend that you know potentially did it, definitely also is like a thing that deters me from doing it. So yeah, and at least now, from where I was before mentally, I've gone better, like just by my own self realization. So yeah, but it's often best like to not fight these battles alone. So you know, a doctor helps. I know some people probably won't want to hear it, but you know, it isn't always possible alone. I know I'm, I guess, an exception that I was able to find, self realization, a way to get mentally better on my own thanks to, a video game of all things. Especially one that, yeah, again, it is definitely interesting. Yeah, again, the best way to put it, Class of '09 is something else. It is funny though, sometimes, but definitely that uh, it, it, its humor is for like certain people, not for everyone. And yeah, so not a game for everyone, but then again, I guess, that's what makes some, you know, games really good is when they really, stand out from the crowd. Like, because where so many games, play it safe and don't try to experiment, the ones that actually try and do something new or, innovate in some unique way are the ones that stand out. Like, the perfect blend of certain elements, like Lethal Company was a perfect blend of, co-op, nature versus, horrific plus funny, horror and comedy, you know, you know, the tragedy and comedy marks, you know, the tragedy in that case being a horror, you know, but yeah, it's quite, fitting that those masks are within the game. But yeah, yeah. Um, as for other games that I lost my train of thought, what sort of games I'm bringing up. What's my point again? Oh, god damn it. Why does my brain have to be so blah, 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 blah. Sometimes? Like fried brain, scab brain, train of thought completely derails. It'll come to me in a moment, but yeah, like really lost my train of thought this time. Um, But yeah, um, yeah. Class of '09 proved to help me because it stood out. Oh yeah, games that stand out. Right. Um, Another is like Amori, like that, delved into really dark themes of, you know, you know, unaliving and all that stuff that Sonny had to go through after losing Maurice, and that he created his own fantasy world to escape, that feeling, which I guess I kind of did the same, you know, to escape one reality, you create a whole new world. So I guess Michael was my escape, same as, Jimmy and all that. That world was my escape in a way. But eventually, even, the cracks would start to show, you know, there too. You can't hide from darkness forever, which, is quite fitting, the main villain of, Michael and Jimmy is the living darkness. The oldest enemy in the world, dark versus light. The oldest rivalry. One is old as, I guess, technically, the universe. But, yeah. Yeah, yeah, so certain games definitely, you know, stand out more and prove to do interesting things. But yeah, it was Class '09 that helped me mentally, but don't always rely on, you know, things that mentally fix themselves, on your own. Yeah, and find help, I was lucky. I've been lucky at many, many turns. And I could have been potentially unlucky. So never take things for granted. And yeah, always, you know, try to look for help when it's needed. But yeah, so my best advice is don't fight depression alone. Usually it just ends up, you know, being a downfall. It's very rare for, you know, miracles to happen and moments of self realization. And yeah. So yeah. So yeah. And if you are gonna do the thing, considering doing the um, the dying, like, don't do it. There's always someone out there that's going to care, you know, even if it doesn't feel like it, you're going to affect someone, you know, feelings by doing it. Like, even if it feels like you're alone, you really aren't. Like, I could potentially understand why someone would, but nonetheless, it's not worth it for the hurt that you'll cause to others once you've done it. So don't do it. And yeah, I know it's a uphill battle against depression, and it may never fully, go away. But you know, you know, being with someone that can help, you know, is better than fighting alone. Unfortunately, I've kind of had to, you know, fight alone. You know, my own depression and dark demons. So yeah, but it doesn't have to always be that way. And yeah. So, in overall, take care of your mental health. It matters a lot. And though it might not always seem it, try and deeply think, are you mentally fine? Are you mentally happy with everything? You know, you know, not to accidentally, spur, like, a moment of realization where it's like, oh damn, I really am not happy. But sometimes it's better to, have the knowledge than not, You know what, they say, with ignorance is bliss, and, knowledge, is, a curse. But when it, comes to mental health, if you're, ignorant to the pain, then eventually, by the time you realize it, or start to realize it, it's already potentially too late. Like, you're already deep in the hole at that point. Like, you've potentially got, thousands of miles or kilometers to reach the surface again, and you may never fully reach the surface again. But if you don't start going up soon, you may end up buried in the hole of your own creation. So, yeah. Yeah. It's, you know, best sometimes just to, you know, find help and, you know, not fight alone. And yeah, I'm losing track of my thoughts again. And, all that, but in summary, mental health, is important, and it's best that you take care of it, and yeah, and yeah, you know, don't, you know, you know, you know, be foolish. Oh yeah, I was talking about uh, ignorance is bliss, and knowledge is a curse. Whatever. Yeah. So ignorance towards your own pain will only lead to your downfall. So even though knowledge is technically a curse, it's the only thing that can sometimes save you with mental health. So I say when it comes to mental health, knowledge is better than ignorance, because ignorance will only lead to your own downfall, where knowledge, well, it's literally a part of your brain, knowledge is the thing in your head. So knowing in that case is, I guess, the cure. Being able to know, you know, how potentially bad the depression is, or the anxiety, or whatever else you may mentally battle with, knowing is half the battle, as another saying goes. So, yeah. So, even if knowledge is a curse, it's also, you know, half the battle. So, yeah, knowledge can be a blessing or a curse. Same as ignorance. Both have their own pros and cons to each. And, yeah, because like a lot of things in life, it comes down to, you know, highs and lows, so pros and cons, and yeah. But yeah. But yeah, take care of your mental health is all I'm saying, and yeah. Either way, yeah, I think I'm gonna end the podcast, as I've spoken a lot about mental health, and there's a lot of, different, mental health things, like, like, and lots of, things that, could play a factor into mental health, like, mental, things, like, um, what is the medical term for it? Um, uh, because, I'm trying to think, but my mind is broken. But medically diagnosed stuff like autism and ADHD, and there's others like dyslexia, but that doesn't usually factor into mental health as much, because dyslexia is more of, a reading thing than a mental health, affects it. Like, I don't know about ADHD personally, because I don't have it. So I don't know how it exactly affects mental health. But for autism, and there's different types of autism, but specifically my type of autism heightens stuff like my social anxiety, which is fun because naturally males are more anxious than females, but then add on top of it my autism. PD, um, PD, oh, goddamn, PDD, so two Ds, NOS, or, I always forget the first word, but I, remember the second part. Pervasive. I thought it was persuasive. That's my dumbness. But pervasive. Ah, that makes sense. Now I finally looked at it for like the probably like 10th time in my life, but they're like really spread out, so I always forget. But anyway, pervasive development disorder not otherwise specified. That's my thing, and yeah, proves to not be fun. Definitely proves to not be fun. Yeah. Yeah. Um I have high social anxiety due to that, and yeah, fun. Um yeah, certain stuff like that can, you know, affect mental health. Or also other stuff like PTSD, schizophrenia, um, and a bunch of other things also can affect mental health. So yeah, but yeah, but yeah, but since I don't know perfectly about everything, you know, I've mainly, been talking from a, you know, autism point of view, and haven't mentioned all, you know, possible mental health things and blah blah. Blah. I just wanted to cover at least a few, mention in general, that it is important to, take care of your mental health. And yeah, but either way, I think I'm finally going to end it now. Especially since I still, like, yeah, and I'm doing this on stream. Still want to do stuff with Michael, and yeah, um, definitely other things I want to do, and I've spent a long time on this. Got really distracted at the beginning though. I think I went on too many tangents at the beginning, but the second half definitely, you know, had a lot of the bad stuff I say, being self critical to myself. Uh, anyway, that's going to be the end of this podcast episode. So, yeah. So, yeah. In the end of the day, take care of your mental health. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching the podcast, and peace until next time.